really appreciate it. This is awesome, by the way. This is just great to have you all here. My name is Jorge Gonzalez. I'm with Regions Bank, and I'm the Financial Wellness Relationship Manager for the Central Florida market. And so what I get to do in my job every day is have fun, come to companies like yours and do financial wellness, financial education. So I direct that program for the Central Florida market. Come on in.
There's a couple more.
There's a chair right over there. So I'm gonna take this jacket because it's a little hot
Get
here.
musty in here.
Yeah. All right, so again, thank you all so much for coming. I know that you guys are facing that way, but we're gonna be facing this way a lot, so get yourself comfortable. If you haven't already, there's bagels, there's coffee, all of that is here for you, so make sure you get some of that. We have a ton, and don't wanna take any back. Especially now that we're going into the holiday season, gotta make sure we're working towards that, right? Again, I want to thank John and the company so much for having us here. I understand that this is your Financial Wellness Month, and this is a huge part of it. You know, being healthy on the finances makes a big difference all along the way. And so today we're going to talk a lot about how to manage your money. That's what I'm here to teach is managing your money, making your everyday better. And so before I do that, you have a couple of handouts in front. With me today is Andy, who is our FRC from our closest friend here on Edgewater, correct? And I'm still trying to learn. I'm originally from Austin, Texas. This is my 4th week here in Orlando, so I'm still trying to understand where I'm at. I get lost without Waze, but I can make it to work and home without using the map already. So I'm a little proud of that. However, we want to make sure that, like today, we want to be a resource for you, right? We want to be your point of contact. So in front of you, you have the first worksheet that we're going to go over. It's called the Financial Wellness Assessment. And so what we really want to do, we're currently working with John on how often we're going to come and do seminars like this. This is one of 15 or 17 seminars that we have, from budgeting to retirement to getting out of debt to how to prevent identity theft, so much more. And so before we set those down and figure out how frequent we're going to be here to teach whatever you all want to learn, we want to make sure that you have a resource, that you have a contact within the bank. So if you can take a minute and look at this sheet, and if there's anything that speaks to you, today we're going to talk a lot about managing your money. We're going to talk a lot about budgeting and spending plans, and we'll get into it in a minute. But if there's something that we don't talk about today that doesn't have to do with managing your money, that speaks to you, please fill it out. Andy's going to go around in a second picking these up. What's most important of this, for this sheet, is that we get your name and email address. And here's the reason why. We're not going to spam you, so don't worry about that. I hate spam. I'm not going to do that to anybody. But what we're going to do is we're going to talk a lot about websites and tips on how to increase your paycheck and decrease your spending. And I want to make sure that we send those out to you. On top of that, we want to make sure that you have our contact information so that if for any reason you guys have a question between now and the next time we come and do a presentation, you have a point of contact. So if you can go ahead and take a couple of minutes and fill this out, we'd love to have your information. Oh, and before I forget, do we have anybody who banks with Regions? No? All right. Shucks. Well, if you did, or you have, I would ask for you to put an R on the corner of your paper because we can upgrade your account to a Regions Next Step account. What that means is you get extra benefit from participating in a seminar like this. And if you do end up wanting to start a relationship with us because we have a relationship with your company, you actually get incentivized for starting a relationship with us to get a $50 gift card. And if you send in referrals, you can make up to $500 a year by just referring family and friends over to us. So that's another way of increasing your paycheck. Ooh. So Andy will come around to pick up those sheets here momentarily. Can everybody hear me okay? Yeah?
Yes.
Everything's good? Awesome. Thank you. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and get started with this awesome seminar called Managing Your Money. Before I continue, I have to legally mention that this little blurb right here is that every seminar is different, right? So the seminars are provided by Regents, however, anything that happens in this class or anything that's talked about, tips, ideas, comments, they're not necessarily backed by Regents, so I have to make sure I disclose that, so that we're not legally bound just in case something comes up through our conversation, okay? So, today, we're gonna talk about we're gonna answer 5 different questions. What are the steps for setting financial goals? How can you track your daily spending habits? How can you prepare a personal savings and spending plan to estimate your monthly income and expenses? Tools to help you manage your cash flow, and ways to increase your income and decrease your spending. Now, there's a lot that we're gonna skip over because there's a couple of things that are super, super important that we should spend a little bit more time. I wanna make sure that I share this. This is an interactive class. So it's on your pace. We don't have to finish it all. I wanna make sure that we get out of here with what we really need, right? And so please participate. If you have any questions, comments, ideas, stop me. It is your class. It's an interactive seminar, all right? So, in front of you, there is another sheet that has financial goals on the very bottom. It looks like this. So, with a show of hands, who here has financial goals? Awesome. That's better than who brings the reasons, right? Who has written down their financial goals? All right, good job. That's awesome. So we're gonna go ahead and get 100% participation today and write them all down. So what I'd like to do, and we're gonna go over a couple of these, but what I'd like to do is write a short-term goal. 1 to 2 short-term goals that can happen anywhere between 6 months to 24 months. Take a couple of minutes to write those down. Where do you wanna see yourself financially between 6 months to 24 months?
Bring culture professional.
You already accomplished.
Is there long-term goals?
All right. Let's write 1 to 2 goals on the medium-term area. That term could be anywhere between 3 to 5 years. Where do you want to see yourself financially between 3 to 5 years? And then finally, a long-term goal. Anything 5 years or more. Where do you want to see yourself financially 5 years or more from now? What goal do you have? So as we finish writing those goals out, can anybody tell me, why is it important? You know, about 50% of us have financial goals and 50% of us actually write them down. Can anybody tell me why it's so important to have financial goals?
Planning?
Stability, planning, yeah. Why stability? What is it? What do you mean by that?
Being able to know that in the future that I won't have to keep working.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. Can't wait for that. Planning, who said planning? Why planning?
Nobody wants
I
to.
said it, but I didn't know you wanted me to go into
Yeah.
detail.
Help me out
I
here.
did,
There's a
but I
lot
don't
of
want-
you
I don't
and
want
just
to
one
I don't want
me.
to circle back. So I don't-
There's a lot of you.
Financial planning, so you
Financial
could
planning.
budget monthly, yearly.
There you go, yeah. What else? Why is it important to have financial goals?
You have more time.
More time.
Yep.
More time for
Family. friends,
family, yes.
Anything.
I hear you, man. I just went back for the first time to Texas. I had been here for 3 weeks without seeing my itty bitty kids. I have a almost 2-year-old and almost 4-year-old, and that's the hardest thing I've ever done. And so I quickly learned that we really had to set financial goals so that I can continue to do that before they come and transfer over here. So planning, stability, spending more time with your family, those things are super important, right? That's, I can tell you, the hardest thing I've ever done is be away, and it's only for 3 weeks. So absolutely, emergencies. We have emergencies, things happen every day. There's a ton of construction in Orlando, I didn't realize that. And so a ton of accidents can happen, and those things mess with your financial goals, right? So it's super important to write those down. Who can share a short-term goal with me? One that you'd like to share with the group? Anything between now and 24 months? Sure.
A fully funded emergency fund.
A fully funded emergency fund. Awesome. That's awesome. Do you have a number that you want to reach?
3 to 6 months.
All right. That's awesome. That is great. If there is anything out there that you want to make sure to have is 3 to 6 months of expenses paid for, because anything can happen, right? That's a fantastic short-term goal. Are you close to it?
No.
Okay. Well, we're gonna help you get
I got
there.
like one.
Okay. Perfect. But you can get there within the next 1 to 2 years, correct? Awesome. That is a great way to start. Who can share with me a medium-term goal? Anybody? 3 to 5 years? 2 to 4 years?
Pay up all credit cards.
Awesome. Yeah, that's good. That's a really good one. Are you doing that by paying them off month over month, or are you consolidating your debt into one loan?
Into 1 month.
Perfect. That is a great way to reduce your interest and pay it off faster and in time to meet your financial goal. Anybody else has a medium-sized goal? What about a long-term one?
Pay off the house.
Awesome. 5 years or more. How long do you have left?
I'm about to buy my third house now, so.
Congratulations, man. That's fantastic. Did you all know, I love that, and that's one of my favorites, long-term goal. A lot of people don't know this, and this is one of the reasons why I love Region so much, is we're here for you. We want to talk about, the struggle is real, so we want to help you move through it, right? And so, did you know, I'm sure you do, especially since you're going into your third home, that one extra payment, typically when you buy a house, you buy it for how long?
30 years.
30 years, right? Do you all know how much can affect your mortgage by giving one additional payment?
5 to 7 years, 21 years.
You drop your mortgage, instead of paying it in 30 years, you drop it to 18 years. Can you imagine? That's significant. That's a lot of years worth of interest. I don't know about you, and I mean, I'm sure you don't have this struggle when you're going into your third home, but when I first bought my first home, and I saw what I was gonna pay in 30 years, what am I doing? That's how much interest we're paying for this house. And so, just by doing one extra payment, you can do that in a number of ways. You can do a one extra payment a year, straight to principal, or you can get into a bi-weekly payment, paying it every 2 weeks. It splits your mortgage, it's a little bit easier on the budget, right? And it's still giving you that extra payment at the end of the year, reducing the term of your loan. Great job, those are awesome. Something that's super important when setting financial goals is being specific. What you have in front of you, you're gonna take with you, and thank you so much for getting those emails to us, because what we're gonna do is we're also gonna send this sheet over to you so you can take it home. Because what you have in front of you is a living, breathing document. Things change, right? 4 weeks ago, I was in Austin, Texas, and now I live in Orlando. So now my financial goals are gonna change, right? And so those should change with you, right? it's super important to be specific. And I want to congratulate you all, because now, when we first started, about 50% of you will raise your hands that you have actually written your goals down. But statistics show that by writing your goals down, you're 40% more probable of actually achieving them just by writing them down. So congratulations, and I'm excited to continue this course to get you there, okay? So, we're gonna watch a short video so I can breathe a little bit that talks about goals.
Financial wisdom from an ex-president who doesn't appear on U.S. currency.
Financial goals help myself. Hello? It's the Treasury. Uh-huh. That's excellent news. They said they love my idea for the $30 bill, and if they ever make one, I'll definitely be on it. Now, where was I? Financial goals help you figure out what you want to do with your money and when you want to do it. To get started, identify your financial goals, such as sending the kids to college, making a down payment on a house, or getting indoor plumbing. Organize your financial goals into short-term goals that you can accomplish in less than a year, medium-term goals that you can complete in 1 to 3 years, and long-term goals that may take 5 years or more. Educate yourself by reading personal finance magazines, online content, or books on managing and growing your money. Evaluate your progress regularly to determine if your program is working. If progress is slow on a given goal, change your approach. Keep in mind that setting financial goals not only gives you peace of mind, but it can also stretch your income. I know who this is. Where have you been that you can't call me?
Awesome. So, just like he was saying, it's very important to go back and check yourself, right? Check what your goals are, what the process is on your goals. Do we need to adjust those goals, right? Does paying off your debt actually got closer than you thought, and now you can get to another financial goal so you can move it from a 5-year to a 3-year one, right? Or you got to emergency fund faster, and now you can take that out of your financial goal and write a new one. What's the next step for you, right? What's the next one? So it's really important to follow this process. We have financial goals. We gotta make sure that we identify our financial goals. What are they, right? And it's very important to be not only specific, but realistic, right? I wanna be a millionaire in a month. But that means I have to buy a lot of lottery tickets, because I would not be able to get a spending plan that would allow me to be a millionaire in a month, right? And so we gotta make sure that they're realistic and we know exactly what they are. We wanna organize our financial goals. What does that mean, organize? It's another word for prioritize. We gotta make sure that we prioritize them on the way that we know they're gonna benefit us and our household, right? Is this the one that we should focus on this month? Is this the one that we should focus on this time period? 1 to 3 years, 2 to 3 years. And then learn about how to get to that goal. It's one thing setting a goal. The second thing is how we get there, right? And what resources you have to get there. And then finally, evaluate your progress. You gotta check it. You gotta make sure you're consistent on that, because if you don't check your goal, then it just, it's a worksheet that's in the the trunk of your car or in your desk somewhere. And so we wanna make sure that you're constantly checking on that. So, now that we have goals, we need to figure out how to budget for those goals, right? So who here follows a budget? All right, awesome. Who here hates a budget? I don't like that word. I don't deal well with that. In my household, I'm a spender, unfortunately. So I do not like budget. I feel like I cannot move, right? You can't do this because you have to follow a budget. How do you feel about a spending plan? That sounds better, right? Now I have money to spend. That's what I'm gonna focus on. I can do that. I can focus on a spending plan. It's the same thing. It just gives you the ability to change a couple of things to where so you know how much money you have left over to spend on whatever it is that you want, right? So for the purposes of everybody being happy, we're gonna change that word from budget to spending plan. We're gonna keep that like that, right? And so, super, super important factor to get to your financial goals is developing a very good spending plan, right? We gotta make sure that we know what a spending plan is and how that's gonna get us to our financial goal. So, a spending plan should be balanced, flexible, and realistic. Okay? You're gonna hear these words a lot. So, does everybody know where your money goes?
Yes.
My wife.
See, I agree. But it's super important. There's another section on the workshop we're gonna talk about right now, and I don't expect you to feel that because I don't know how much my utilities are, I don't know how much my insurance is gonna be, especially moving states, right? And so there's a lot of variability in this worksheet, but you gotta figure that out, right? And so at the end of the seminar, I'm gonna give you a worksheet that's gonna allow you for the next couple of days or for the following month to follow a daily log to show you where your money's going and what where it really is. I cannot do cash. If I have cash in my pocket, the end of the day gets here and I don't understand where those $20 went. Especially here since there's a lot of tools. But I do very well with a card. However, in order for me to know where that card transactions are going, I need to make sure I keep my receipts. And so that log will allow you to focus on where every cent is going, right? And so, let's watch this video.
Financial wisdom from an ex-president who doesn't appear on U.S. currency.
Do you know where your money goes every month? It's pretty common for people to spend the money they make and not have anything left over to save for their goals. How often have you taken $20 out of the ATM and wondered at the end of the day where it went? To be in control of your money, you have to understand your cash flow. Cash flow is about money you earn, spend, and save. To create a snapshot of your cash flow, keep a personal spending diary over a 1-month period. Save receipts and log your purchases every day. You'll probably be surprised. Figure out which purchases were things you needed and which were things you just wanted.
Still a video. So why do you think a spending plan will help you? Other than what he talked about. Do you think that would be beneficial to all of you, following a spending plan? Yeah. But why is that though? To reach your goal, but what else?
Accountability.
Accountability. That is it. You gotta, control what you can control. We may not control the prices of things, but we can control what we decide to spend on, right? That, you gotta believe that you can actually attain these spending plans, habits, and that you can attain those goals. Otherwise, if you don't believe in it, it just won't happen. It's just something that we're just writing down and hoping that we can get there. But if you keep yourself accountable for it, it'll actually happen. So, when we talk about income, there's 2 types of income, right? There's gross income and there's net income. Who can tell me the difference between that? Tax and not tax, right? So whenever you get a job, they tell you what your gross income is gonna be. And if you're anything like me, or like some of us, who spends their gross income the moment they hear it? I mean, it's true. You all have checkers here. That's something that we don't have back home, and I would love that food. It is awesome. And so I had to check on that because I was counting that I had all this extra money, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna get those fries every single day if I can. It doesn't work that way. When you look at your check and you see that net income, that's actually what you're bringing home. So super important when you're doing a spending plan is that you focus not on your salary, but what on your net income is, which is after the taxes, after the deductions, after your insurance, if any is provided, all of that stuff comes out. That is what you actually take home, and that is what your spending plan should be based on, right? How are ways that you can increase your income?
Spend less.
Yes, and we'll get to that.
Pay off your debt.
Yes, pay off your debt, right? So get to your first, there you go, you're prioritizing your goals. right? To increase your income to get to that goal of getting an emergency fund, maybe we need to pay off the debt first, right? What else? Why are we paying off debt, by the way? Why is that increasing your income?
Because that's money that you're actually not getting, you're paying it to somebody else.
Yeah, and it's less interest, right? So you're paying interest on money that you borrowed. And so that's money that's just going to the bank because you're borrowing it, right? So that's how you can increase your income. What's another way of increasing your income?
Change your taxes.
What'd you say?
Change your taxes.
Change your taxes. Very good point. If you learn to live with a certain tax bracket or a deduction, then you know exactly that that spending plan's gonna be stretched out, right? And now you're better in your future. You said investments, yeah. You can increase your income by investing. Opening up a savings account with interest, right? Interest that's gonna pay you. Does everybody have a savings account? Okay, right. And so the bank pays you money for keeping them. Not as much as we'd like in the past, right? But we're working, we're getting there. What are other ways of increasing your income? Have you all had an opportunity to go to your home, take a look around, and see, oh man, I haven't used this in like a year. Right? Yeah, and so selling items that you don't use, that they're just piling up in websites like Poshmark, consignment stores, those are ways of increasing your income as well. That's money that's just sitting there in your house doing nothing because you're not using it, you're not touching it. That's a way of increasing your income. Another way of increasing your income is maybe if you have extra time, Ubering, right? If you have a financial goal that you really want to get to and you have a year to get to it, maybe you can take that time that you have left and use it towards that, right? Those are ways of increasing your income. Now, we know income, we know the start of our spending plan, right? Because we know that we have to base it out of the net. We know how to, ways to increase our income. We gotta know our expenses, right? There's two types of expenses. Can anybody tell me what they are? I heard it.
Living expenses.
Living expensive bills,
Fixed and variable.
fixed and variable. Right on point, fixed and variable. Those are the two types of expenses. Fixed are ones that you should know, your living expenses, right? Roof over your head, we know that that's a fixed expense. Why is that?
It's not gonna change.
It's not gonna change. Fixed expenses are things that are not gonna change. They're the same month over month, week over week, year over year, right? So if those are fixed expenses, then what are variable expenses? Groceries,
Power.
gas, power bills, what else?
Fuel.
I'm sorry?
Fuel.
Fuel, right? Entertainment, that's a big one, boy. For us who like the spending plan, that's one that we have to, work on a lot. Those are the ones, in my mind, when you talk about knowing your expenses, the biggest opportunity where we can control is our variable expenses. Those are the ones that we have to focus on our spending plan because they're the ones that we can control immediately. Sometimes when we're in a mortgage or we're in an apartment or we have a lease, those are pretty much on a contract, right? So we cannot change those until the lease is up or until we sell our home. And those are more, that cannot affect our spending plan as much as our variable expenses can. So, we're gonna go over a spending plan because I don't expect you all to know your variable expenses right now. It'd be a lot if we didn't ask you to come prepared for that. But we're gonna go based on this family right here. Their income, their total net income is $4,640, okay? And they're getting $10 a month of interest on a savings account because they're earning 0.005, right? And so their total income is $4,650, okay? A lot of us may have certain incomes from here. It is very important that you add every single income. You get rental income? No, you just like how? Oh, okay, awesome, perfect. Well, if you have an extra or a side hustle, like for example, Uber or Poshmark or things like that, you can add those incomes here. All right. So, in this family, their rent and mortgage is $1,600. They pay taxes about $250. Their trash collection is fixed, so it's $30 a month. Their car payment is $450. Their car insurance is $80. Their other loan payments that are fixed are $150 a month. Their health insurance is $75, and their daycare is $100. My goodness, I need to. Where is that at?
Health insurance.
Yeah, right? So, this is an awesome scenario, by the way.
What, take that in a minute.
Yes, yes, please. So their total fixed expenses are $2,735, okay? This is what we cannot control a lot because it's fixed. They're contracted, they're there for a reason, right? That's what we really need. Here are variable expenses. Have you ever heard the term pay yourself first? What does that mean? To save. You mentioned a really cool financial goal, and that's your emergency fund. When we talk about an emergency fund, it's paying yourself first. So this person's paying themselves $200 a month. Now that means that those $200 a month are not gonna be touched, right? Because they're paying themselves first. It's going to a savings account that it's there for an emergency. If you want to have a entertainment or a spending plan, then you have a different account that's your spending money, right? And you can add that to that spending plan. It's super important that you have your emergency fund that you do not touch, your spending money, and then your household account, right? That will allow you to get, if you want to follow a spending plan, not necessarily a budget, that will alleviate things so that you know exactly where your money is at. And then we go the rest of the utilities. So the total variable expenses are $1,835, together making $4,650 total income. Their expenses $4,570. That's a wiggle room of $80 a month. Is that safe? It's a little scary. It scares me a little bit. $80 is not a lot of flexibility, right? And so what are things that they can change here?
Quit donating.
And that's okay. Sometimes we cannot donate with money, but we can donate with time, right? We can go and donate volunteer hours, and that can cut that down. Because what does that equal a year? That's $600. That's a lot of money, right?